You ever wonder why some amazing new tech just takes off like a rocket, while other stuff kind of just fizzles out? We all think we know the answer, but what if the real reasons are hiding in plain sight? Okay, let's get into it. I mean, really think about it. The local shops and businesses in your town, the cafe, the mechanic, the little boutique, what actually makes them decide to spend their hard-earned money and precious time on some new app or a new piece of tech? Well, it turns out the answer is way more surprising than you'd think. So, the common wisdom tells us a couple of things. One, a huge crisis, like the pandemic, basically forces everybody's hand. You have to adapt or you're done for, right? And two, if you build a great, easy-to-use tool, it's just going to sell itself. But a really fascinating study that looked at small businesses in Jordan, well, it's about to turn both of those ideas completely on their head. All right, so to really get to the bottom of this, we've got to understand who we're talking about. The researchers were super specific about the group they looked at, and it's a really important one. These zeroed in on what are called micro, small, and medium-sized enterprises, or MSMEs for short. And look, these aren't giant corporations. These are the engines of the economy, the small businesses that create jobs and are really the heartbeat of their communities. They have the most to gain from new tech, but they also face the biggest risks. So who's running these shops? Who are the people making the big decisions? Well, check this out. The study talked to 305 managers, and a huge 63% of them have a bachelor's degree, and another 10% have a master's or PhD. So right off the bat, we're dealing with a highly educated group of people. And here's where it gets really interesting. Look at their ages. Almost 89% of these managers are under 30. So we've got a young, highly educated, new generation of business leaders. You would totally expect them to be all over any new technology that comes out, which makes what the researchers actually found even more of a curveball. So, to figure out the real reason why they adopt tech, the researchers didn't just ask, hey, do you like this app? No, they used proven scientific models to really dig into the specific things that motivate a person to make that choice. Let's break down what they were looking for. First up, something called performance expectation. This is really the bottom line question. It's not about cool features or a slick design. It's about a simple, practical calculation. Is this tool actually going to help my business make more money, save time, and be more productive? Will it make us better? Next, there's social influence. You can basically think of this as peer pressure for businesses. It's that feeling you get when you see your competitors using a new tool. It's that thought in the back of your head saying, maybe we should be doing that too, just to keep up. You don't want to get left behind. And of course, they also tested all the usual suspects, right? Things like perceived usefulness. Is this thing actually useful for my specific day-to-day tasks? And ease of use. How much of a pain is it going to be to learn and implement this thing? They looked at the pandemic's role too, and whether having the right resources on hand made a difference. Okay, so the stage is set. The researchers talked to the right people and they asked all the right questions. So, what did they find? This is where our whole story gets flipped upside down. Just look at this. It's pretty wild. All the things we might have guessed would be the most important, how useful the tool is, how easy it is to learn, even a global pandemic, nope, they were not significant drivers. The only two things that actually pushed these business owners to adopt new tech were social influence and, by an absolutely massive margin, performance expectation. Let's just pause on that for a second, because that is a huge shocker. The study found that the COVID-19 pandemic had no statistically significant impact on their decision to adopt new technology. The crisis that we all assumed forced everyone online, for this group of young, educated managers, it wasn't the real push. And it doesn't stop there. Think about it. That brand new app with a beautiful design, packed with cool features, super easy to use? According to this data, that's just not enough. Being useful and being easy didn't move the needle for these business owners. So what on earth did? The answer is all in this one number, 18.317. Now, this is a T statistic, but you don't need to be a data scientist to get what this means. In statistics, a score of around 2 is usually a pretty big deal. This is over 18. In plain English, this factor wasn't just important, it was basically the only thing that mattered. It completely dwarfed everything else. So, to boil it all down, it comes to this. These business owners have one single core motivation. They will take the leap and adopt new technology if and only if they are totally convinced it will fundamentally make their business perform better. It is all about that belief in the return on their investment. So, let's pull back and look at the big picture. These insights from Jordan aren't just about Jordan. They give us some really powerful clues about how to get new technology into the hands of people who need it, no matter where they are in the world. And you might ask, why are they so hyper-focused on performance? Well, it's because they're dealing with some very real, practical challenges every single day. They're worried about the actual benefits. They might not have to write digital infrastructure. There's a shortage of skilled workers. And yeah, they are very concerned about the cost. All of these hurdles make them laser-focused on the outcome. So what do we do about it? The study actually lays out a pretty clear 3-step plan. Step 1 is education, running workshops and training sessions to boost digital literacy. Step 2 is policy. Governments have to step up and create policies that actually encourage businesses to go digital. And step 3 is investment. You have to build the roads before people can drive. And that means investing in the hardware, software, and networks to make it all possible. And that really leaves us with one final and I think very important question. What this whole thing shows us is that tech adoption isn't really a technology problem. It's a belief problem. It's about convincing smart, practical, everyday people that making a big change is worth the risk and the effort. So the real challenge for all of us isn't just about building better tech. It's about building a better case for it. How do we build that belief?